Okay, so you're officially sick and tired of bottling your beer, and you're ready to take the leap into kegging your homebrew. Kegging turns what used to be a long, messy conclusion to your fermentation into a pleasant 15-minute stroll through the park. As a homebrewer, it also gives you increased control over the carbonation and conditioning of your beer. Let's take a look at the Cornelius kegging system and what comprises it. The tank plugs, various internal and external O-rings, the overpressure valve, tank lid, the draw tube, gas and product disconnects, dispense tubing, the faucet, the valve hand wheel, the tank and line pressure gauges, the overpressure relief valve, the lock nut and the adjustment screw. The keg itself, new or reconditioned, may be shiny and pretty, or it may look like it just came out of a landfill. But if all the valves and connections are in good working order and it holds pressure, then you're in business. Cornelius kegs come in two configurations, ball lock and pin lock. The name refers to the type of gas and liquid connections that attach to the keg at the tank plug. They are both essentially the same system, a mechanism resembling a typical hydraulic quick disconnect, with the addition of pins on the pin lock system and no pins on the ball lock system. It's your choice which to use, but I found that parts for the ball lock system are easier to come by, and that's what we sell. So we'll be focusing on the ball lock system in this video. The disconnects are gray for gas and black for product. That's the beer. They connect to either the dispensing faucet or the CO2 tank, and are usually labeled on the tank body itself. They are also slightly different sizes to avoid making the wrong connection. Occasionally the tank plug O-rings become dried out and need to be greased with some food-grade lubricant, but if your gas connect doesn't fit, chances are you're trying to put it on the wrong tank plug. This is a good time to throw out some quick warnings about using the Cornelius system. Number 1. If the disconnect doesn't seem to fit, stop. Check to make absolutely sure that you're trying to attach it to the right tank plug. Forcing the wrong disconnect onto the wrong tank plug can result in the destruction of your regulator. This can also be safeguarded by the use of an inline check valve. Make sure that the collar has snapped in completely and the connection is secure. Number 2. Don't store your dispense hose with the faucet open. Eventually it will rain beer. Just trust me on this one. Number 3. When force carbonating with higher pressure, like 25 to 40 psi, always use metal hose clamps on all the connections. High pressure has a tendency to blow hoses off their connections, resulting in a huge mess, or at least a frightening noise that could cause you to drop your beer. Number 4. If priming your keg with sugar, be sure to use 1/3 of a cup of corn sugar, not 3/4. And remember to seat the O-rings with 5 to 10 psi while it carbonates. This prevents the CO2 from escaping through the cracks. As always, sanitation is important. Never use bleach or any chlorine-based sanitizer on stainless steel. The chlorine pits the stainless steel with microscopic crevices that bacteria can hide in. Use an iodine or oxygen-based sanitizer. Let's go through the procedure of filling your sanitized keg with 5 gallons of homebrew. Gently siphon the finished beer into the keg without splashing. When the keg is full, close off the tank lid, attach the gas disconnect, set your line pressure for 10 pounds, and add gas to the keg while opening the keg's overpressure relief valve for about 10 seconds. This blows the oxygen off the top of the beer and replaces it with CO2. After 10 seconds, close the overpressure relief valve and listen carefully for leaks as the keg pressurizes. If leaks occur, turn off the gas, depressurize the keg using the keg's overpressure relief valve, open the tank lid and reseat the lid by changing its position slightly as it closes. Repeat the previous procedures until no leaks occur. If you just can't make it seal, open the tank lid, remove the large O-ring from the lid and flip it over. Rotate it or yell at it until it properly seats with 10 psi. If you're priming the keg with sugar, let it sit for approximately 1 to 2 weeks, seated with 5 to 10 psi. If not, then we're ready to force carbonate. There are 2 general methods to force carbonate a beverage in a Cornelius keg. Number 1. Attach the gas disconnect and adjust the line pressure to 25 psi and shake the keg back and forth for 10 to 20 seconds at a time. Do this 3 or 4 times. When you stop in between to rest, listen and you'll hear the gas entering the solution. Number 2, let the keg sit overnight with 25 psi attached to it, repeating this until adequate carbonation has been attained. Check the final carbonation level in the beer by depressurizing the keg and dispensing a sample. It's important to use the correct pressure to obtain a properly dispensed draft beer. The required pressure changes with the length of dispense hose that you're using. An average 3-foot dispense hose needs approximately 2 to 5 psi. If you're using more dispense tubing, slowly adjust the pressure at the regulator until you've succeeded in pouring yourself an excellent pint. If the beer itself is overcarbonated, repeatedly degas the keg using the overpressure valve. If it's undercarbonated, repeat the previous steps until it comes into the level of carbonation that you prefer. Forced carbonation is great, but it should never take the place of an adequate maturation and aging time between the secondary fermenter and your glass. Kegging your homebrew is incredibly convenient, and it eliminates one step that oftentimes can feel too much like work. It also leaves a lot more time to focus on some of the more relaxing parts of the homebrewing process. Prost.